to you.
Hi, Andrew. Good morning.
Hi. 20% of Ukraine is now Russian-controlled. What is Putin's goal?
Well, that is a very good question. So originally we knew, well, I think we all know that Putin wants to take over Ukraine. He doesn't see it as any right to exist. He sees it as part of Russia, sees it as part of his great legacy for when he eventually leaves office to reunite all the peoples. And it was all dressed up as this ridiculous denazification and get rid of the drug dealers and what have you. So he tried to take over the whole country. They tried to march into Kyiv in the first 72 hours, and they were ignominiously ejected from the north of the country a few weeks later. And then they said that actually all their objective all along had just been to free up the Russian-speaking peoples in the Donbass. The Donbass is the Donetsk coal basin. It's the two regions, the Luhansk and Donetsk oblasts, which are like counties, if you like, the two regions in the east of the country. So apparently that was the objective all along. I think that's utter hogwash. I mean, he's had to totally downscale his ambition because he was pushed out of the north of the country and wasn't able to push from the south over to Odessa and completely cut off the coast. So what is his objective? I think his objective now is to try and grab the Donbass, hold on to the southern regions that he's got, and then go for negotiations, because he knows he's just running out of troops and equipment. He's got no international support, and he can't keep going. It is a numbers game. As you've just heard President Zelensky talk about the casualties they are taking on the Ukraine side, that Russia have had enormous casualties in personnel and equipment, and they just simply are not going to be able to take over the country as they wish on their current sort of efforts.
Is the West still united?
I've been asking regularly on the Telegraph Daily Ukraine podcast, at what point does healthy difference of opinion become cracks in the alliance? I don't think we're there yet. I think the West is together. Now, you've got a group of 30 nations in NATO, 27 in the EU, many more in the sort of just the international community. Of course, you're going to get voices, dissenting voices. You're going to get people dragging their heels, supplying weapons. You're going to get the Viktor Orbáns trying to get carve outs for the energy sector for his own country. But I think the battle has been won about what we're fighting here. This is values. This is the time when the post-Second World War settlement is tested, and we say, are we happy with this kind of brutality? Are we happy just so that we don't have to endure hardships in our energy prices, that we allow other people, our friends in Europe, to be murdered and brutalized as they are? And I think the answer has been a unanimous no. This is time to make a stand here. Now, I'm not suggesting it's all easy, and there are lots of problems, and people are putting up obstacles and trying to go slow in some areas, weapons especially. But I think there is unity at the moment. I think Putin is hoping for and doing everything he can to fracture that international alliance. It's not there yet, I don't think.
Dominic Nichols, thank you for that. Defence and Security Editor of the Telegraph, serving in the British Army for 23 years himself. 8 minutes past 7, bringing into the conversation Andrei Korchinov, Director General of the Russian International Affairs Council, which is a Kremlin-supported think tank. Andrei Korchinov, good morning. Welcome to LBC.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. What is the essence of the invasion of Ukraine? Is it Russian nationalism?
Well, I'm not sure this is nationalism, because if you look at the situation on the battlefield, you will see Russians and Ukrainians fighting on both sides of the front line. There are some Ukrainians in the Russian army, specifically people from Donbass, but there are some ethnic Russians fighting in the Ukrainian army. So I think it's more about two very different approaches to social organization, two very different perceptions of how the world should look like, and what is fair and what is not.
Is it unbearable for the president of Russia to see Ukraine as a state itself, self-determining and looking west? Is that so offensive to Mr. Putin that people should die?
Well, we can only guess about what Mr. Putin is thinking right now, but I think that it really constitutes a problem not only for Putin, but to some parts of the Russian establishment. Many people still think that Ukraine belongs it is not easy to accept that Ukraine is an independent and a sovereign country like any other country, and it has the right to choose its own destiny and its own development track.
Is it accepted amongst the members of the public in Russia that their country is at war? Do people know what's going on?
Well, I'm not sure that if you talk to people in Moscow, they would accept that Russia is at war, because this conflict is far away. So far, it has not affected day-to-day lives of ordinary Moscowites, not to mention people in small towns in rural areas of the Russian Federation. Sanctions are there, but sanctions have not yet reached the core of the Russian population. So in a way, I think this conflict is routinized. When the whole thing started, many people were shocked, and they thought that their lives would change dramatically. But so far that has not happened, and that's why I think it's too early to argue that the Russian society is getting concerned about what will happen to the country.
And what will stop Putin in terms of a negotiation with the president of Ukraine, Zelensky? What would satisfy Putin now?
Yeah, my take is that the difficulty of the situation. Well, there are many difficulties, of course, of the situation, but the most important thing is that President Putin cannot accept defeat. He cannot lose this war. So there should be some kind of a settlement that would allow him to say that I accomplished the mission, I did what I was supposed to do, and now I can end this whole operation, and we will have some kind of political settlement. It will not be easy because, of course, Zelensky cannot afford defeat either.
Well, he's not the one who invaded, but I take your point. Andrei Korchinov, Director General of the Russian International Affairs Council. Kira Ruddick is with me, Ukrainian MP and leader of the Golos Party. Kira Ruddick, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. You heard, I suppose, what Mr. Korchinov was saying there. At some point, however distasteful and foul it may be, some sort of negotiations to end this war have to happen, don't they?
No, not absolutely. Well, I'm a strongly believer that Ukraine is capable to win this war with the help of the Western allies, and this is what we are going to do. This is our aim. You see, when we are talking about negotiation or some settlement, we are all in the illusions that it's just like moving the borders here and there, and it is not. We all have seen what happened in Bucha and Borodyanka, and what is happening on temporary occupied territories, when Russians are just killing our people, torturing them, moving children away from their parents, then basically canceling any possible and impossible human right. So for us, it's basically giving up on people and sending them to death, and we are not going to do that. We are already fighting, and we have been fighting, and will continue fighting. People already died for this victory. So for us, it is just a matter of physical surviving.
I said when I put that question to you that how distasteful it is, and I mean that. Now, if Mr. Zelensky, if Ukraine can drop their desire, perhaps, for NATO membership and look more to the EU, or some sort of association with the EU, do you suppose that might be a motivation for Putin to stop? I'm just trying to think about a way this ends.
Look, the question for the last 8 years, and I think this is the most critical question right now, is there a force in the world that would make Putin keep his part of the deal? And I do not believe that there is. So we can have like our our ideas on the table, we can have our offers. But the problem is that what Putin is using is called salami technique. Piece by piece, for the last 8 years, he was trying to take on Ukrainian land, Ukrainian people, and right now he does not stop. And the issue is that even with those energetic agreements, even with international negotiations, he just does not care. He does not keep his part of the deal. And the question is, so then why talking about even us giving up on any aims to join NATO, to join EU, if what we know is that it wouldn't have any impact. He has his plan. He is very adamant about that. He's rebuilding Russian empire. So how is it, changes in you? Yeah.
Kira Roddick, sorry, he has described, lastly, he's described as non-state, as he has described Ukraine before, as a non-state. President Medvedev, ex-President Medvedev, also said the same thing in relation to Ukraine, but also looking ahead to Poland, to Kazakhstan, and elsewhere. You know, they don't see, and people have to understand this, don't they? If you're being described as a non-state by Putin, a man who is capable of perpetrating war crimes, which is what he has perpetrated, without question, the question has to be, what is he capable of next?
Anything. He is not hiding his plans. He's saying Ukraine is not a state. He's saying, I'm rebuilding Russian empire and reuniting the lands that were always ours. So he's the first person in the history who is not covering for his crimes, for the genocide that he's committing. He's actually awarding the soldiers that committed the atrocities in Bucha and Irpin. So when we are talking about Putin, we should not be talking like a normal or ordinary man that we are that we can negotiate with or come to agreement with. He is a dictator. He is a person who committed every single crime on the list.
No, I understand that, Kira Roddick. Thank you very much indeed. Ukrainian MP, leader of the Golos Party. And yet, we don't talk about, Kira, thank you. Ukraine has dropped off the broadcast media rounds. I know it's the Platinum Jubilee and all that, but it is dropped off completely. And we're as guilty here as all the other broadcasters are, and yet this still goes on. We're going to turn that place into a bloody mire and forget about it just to neutralize Putin, aren't we? That's what's actually going to happen. It's disgraceful, really, isn't it? He needs to be shoved back in his box, doesn't he? 0345 6060973. We'll have a listen to the cheering yesterday. This was what we were celebrating in this country. That was the moment the Queen stepped out onto the balcony at Buckingham Palace. There's more ahead for the next 3 days, although she is feeling some discomfort after going through yesterday's celebrations. And we'll be with the Rachel Venables in just a second. The news, Friday morning, Simon Morgan.
The Queen will miss today's main Platinum Jubilee event after she reported discomfort as she watched celebrations on the Mall yesterday. US President Joe Biden's urged Congress to act on gun control, and a consultation's being launched today on using imperial measurements more often in post-Brexit Britain. LBC weather, showers across central and western parts, dry with sunny spells in the far north and south of the UK, a high of 22.
LBC Travel, I'm Joanne Webb. On the Underground, the Bakerloo line can't run between Queen's Park and Harrow and Wealdstone, and that's because of an ongoing investigation. Southern and Thameslink services are delayed by about 15 minutes between Redhill and Gatwick Airport because a train has broken down. Lots of stations are closed because of a shortage of staff, including Caledonia Road, Chalk Farm and Chancery Lane. On the roads in Guildford, the A3 remains closed in both directions between Wooden Bridge and the Stoke Crossroads. That's because of an accident. And also on the North Circular Road, on the eastbound exit slip road at Edmonton at Silver Street, one lane's closed on that slip following an accident.
This is LBC.
At Lidl, we're big on a summer of quality for all. So this Jubilee weekend, enjoy majestic British strawberries from just $1.89, 6 all butter scones for 99p, and deluxe teas from just 89p. So one can have a truly platinum Jubilee. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes NI.
This is LBC.
Forget work calls.
meetings. Forget that irritating sound. Forget rush hour traffic. Actually, forget about work altogether. Remember the smell of the sea. That's it. This summer, escape and fly to Spain with Welling from $25.99 one way. Welling. See full terms and conditions on welling.com.
The Sky Connect summer sale is now on. Get Advantage Pro at our lowest monthly price this year, just $24.95. That's super fast business broadband with 4G internet backup for an ultra-reliable connection that won't let you down at a price that won't go up. Thanks to no in-contract price rises, guaranteed. Switch and save today in the Sky Connect summer sale. Visit skyconnect.uk. Sky Fibre areas only. 4G coverage required. New customers only. £79 set up. £12 delivery. Advantage Pro 24. 36-month contract. Prices exclude 20% VAT. Offer ends 24th of June. See skyconnect.uk for full details.
Do you have a vacancy to fill right now? Because right now, at Job Centre Plus, we have thousands of people ready to work for your business. Right now, across the country, our work coaches are helping thousands of employers connect with the people they need. So right now, you could be speaking to a named employer advisor and matching a candidate to one of your vacancies. Speed up your recruitment at gov.uk/way to work.
Did you know that Volkswagen have agreed to a payment of £193 million to affected diesel drivers in a first-of-its-kind UK settlement? At My Diesel Claim, we're handling claims against numerous vehicle manufacturers and represent over 600,000 drivers who have already started their claim. If you owned or leased a diesel vehicle between 2009 and 2020, you could be eligible for significant compensation. It's easy to sign up. Simply head to mydieselclaim.com and start your claim today.
Andrew Castle on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
It's 22 minutes past 7, Friday morning. It's June the 3rd. Andrew in for Nick. This is LBC Breakfast. Rachel Venables was in the Mall yesterday, on the Mall, in the Mall, round the Mall, and talking to crowds and various. Today she's at St Paul's Cathedral, our correspondent. Hello, Rachel. Morning.
Good morning. Yes, it's day 2 of the Jubilee celebrations, and today the focus has definitely moved out east a little bit here in London, away from the Mall and Buckingham Palace, and here to St Paul's Cathedral, where at 11:30 there's going to be a service of thanksgiving. Now, I'll get into what we can expect from that in a moment or two, but I do think it's worth reflecting on that incredible day yesterday. You had tens upon tens of thousands of people packing out the Mall, so many of them in the end. Really, the police had to shut the roads hours before the event itself, before the trooping of the colour. That was led by Prince Charles, of course, in place of his mother. And then we saw those deafening screams of delight, flag waving from the crowds as they saw the moment the Queen stepped out onto the balcony in her powder blue outfit, holding onto a cane to support. But just listen to the crowd, to the way they felt that moment. Well, the crowd roared their approval at the sight of the Queen, and again later when she stepped out a second time, surrounded by her family, to watch a spectacular RAF fly past. Next, she travelled out to Windsor, touching the Commonwealth of Nations globe to start the lighting ceremony of 3,500 beacons across the country. But we're told she greatly enjoyed, of course, the birthday parade and fly past. But Buckingham Palace tell us she did experience some discomfort, and taking the journey into account, all that means she will not be here participating in today's national service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's Cathedral. Now, you might be able to hear a lot of chatter around me, a lot of noise. This place is set up full of police. You've got barriers already, and I'd say around maybe 100 or so people, the real keen beans, who are here with their flags out, and they are here ready to get the best spots to see the action later. And I'm joined by a couple of them now, Linda and Sue from Derbyshire, and Elise, who's from London, originally France. Ladies, you've got a spot right at the front. You're decked out in red, white and blue. Tell me how you're feeling this morning.
Excited.